y'all? Thank y'all for tuning in to So This Is The Thing podcast with your girl Chaz. I am so excited to be here today again. Yes. This is a little bit different. We're doing like a panel today. I'm so excited to be here today. Right now, before I introduce them, I want to do it a little bit different. I want y'all to introduce yourselves as a pronoun, as in the LGBT community, how they pronounce you guys. So go ahead, honey.
I am Naomi Green. I am a 39-year-old Black transgender woman residing in Dallas, Texas. My pronouns are she, her, and hers.
What's up? That's what's up.
I am Charles Cooperwood. I am 45 years old. My pronoun is I'm a gay man, and I live in Dallas, Texas as well.
Okay.
My name is Mr. Newton, and I'm a heterosexual male.
All right. And yes, Mr. Newton is definitely here today. He's a heterosexual male. There ain't no bashing, none of that. I am so excited because there is so much that has changed when it comes to the LGBT and how you all stand as a community as one. So I do want to talk to you first, Naomi, because I am just appalled to have you here today. Let me tell y'all, she do so much in our community today down in Dallas, Texas. She's an advocate. She's been on CNN advocating for the LGBT community, HIV, things like that, healthcare. Dabble and let me know a little bit of something of how you got all started with being an advocate for us.
Well, the story goes all the way back before my relocation to Dallas, Texas. It started in St. Louis, Missouri. I was a victim in a shooting homicide. Actually, my car was shot up 18 times while me and a friend were in it, and he passed away. I did not. And so, of course, that just kind of gave me more purpose. I had to reevaluate some things in life. And as a result, I ended up relocating to Dallas, Texas, working for a corporation here as a marketer, and then switched to a general manager. Okay. And then I really feel like I had a calling. I was with Charles, actually. He sent me an invitation to an event that a local organization was having for trans women, like a roundtable discussion. Okay. I wasn't able to RSVP and make it in time because of my work schedule at the time, being a general manager. However, it was my birthday, January 29th, 2019, and I was at Charles' house, and they were actually shooting a live video of the roundtable, and Charles pulled it up on his phone and showed me. And I heard the CEO of the organization that I used to work for, Bounding Prosperity Incorporated, located in South Dallas here in Texas. It's one of the first and only indigenous Black LGBTQ community-based organizations in Texas. Yes. So I saw Kirk Myers, the CEO, speaking about some of the things that he wanted to do in the trans community, building a trans workforce, having trans housing, offering hormone replacement therapy, things of that nature. And it literally spoke to my heart because these are things that I had expressed an interest in doing to only like 3 people. Charles was one of them. My mother was one, and one of my really good friends in St. Louis. And so I was like, oh my gosh. And he was like, but there are not enough people to fill these positions. I'm looking for someone right now, who can come in and lead a program and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, he is looking for me. Like, he is looking for me. And luckily Charles knew him, reached out, and it literally went from there. And I was working there within 2-3 weeks, maybe. I was hired and officially a part of the organization. So it was great.
That's dope. So are you involved as well in the
I am not.
organization?
It just was a friend of mine, and knowing that it was my friend's dream to do this and vision that she's had for so long, it was a perfect match. So I paired them up.
It's your calling. That's so dope. So I know that you want to. You were at the red tie affair.
The black red carpet or red awards was what it was called, the red awards. Yeah.
Okay. And you won. They actually won. You won an award for.
Yeah,
and that was dope.
It was because I wasn't even expecting it. It wasn't one that I was even nominated for. To be quite honest, so I didn't know that I was getting it because it was one that they actually decided to give me before the awards show and ceremony, not the day of, of course, but prior to, without me actually knowing. So I was very shocked, but pleasantly surprised, but honored and humbled, to be quite honest.
Yeah, you've done a lot. I'm real proud of you.
I appreciate it.
And I'm gonna tell y'all, she be walking, doing the. How did you get involved in ballroom? Is that something that was always a passion for you as well?
Part of that was actually when I was in college. My sophomore year at Jackson State University, shout out JSU. I am an alumnus. So it was my sophomore year of Jackson State University. A friend of mine, Dr. Christopher Robinson, actually, he was in school with me at the time. We all knew each other from Michigan. And he was really heavily into ballroom. And so he kind of was the person that really got me into it and got me interested and all of that. I
am so, like, I swear I feel like I'm a trans within a woman. I love, when I say love, like, honestly. So it's kind of like what? So madam, basically. Pose have really put a light on my life, and I'm like, yes. Yeah. So when I saw you do that, and it was just so dope to see
Awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes. So I do want to ask a couple things now. Now, Charles, with you, How did it come about? How did you come out, I guess I can say, to the world when you did finally decide that you were, what did you label yourself as again?
A gay man.
A gay man.
So it was kind of twofolded for me because I came out, I always like to say I came out the closet twice. And I say that because when I first came out the closet, I was in college.
Okay.
I started heavily when I was in college. I had experiences before that because I was molested, but that wasn't because I chose to do that. That was something that just was put upon me. And so during college, I met a few guys and different friends and things of that nature, and came out into the community. Decided that I was going to tell my family, not everyone, but just my mom.
Okay.
And so that didn't go too well. She, of course, had all these things she wanted me to do with counseling and things of that nature, but I felt like counseling wasn't going to change who I knew I was on the inside. Yeah. But I always wanted children. Anybody who knows me know that I've always wanted children. And so there came a time after college that I met a young lady, and we became really good friends, and then we started dating through my brother, and we ended up having 2 children. So
wait a minute. So this is not just a gay man now. I mean, he labeled himself as a gay man.
Now.
But ain't that like still being
bi?
I don't
get it.
So
wait a minute. I guess it's because you labeled yourself as gay.
Well, I don't really, to be honest with you, I only labeled myself as that because you asked me what would the community identify me as. But I identify myself as a man.
Okay.
Just in general.
A man that likes.
I just so happen to like other men sexually, but I don't think that means that I need to identify as a gay man. Right. I identify as a man.
But you also like vagina too, though, right?
Yeah, because you like women.
You like vagina too.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I don't anymore, but I did.
Damn.
You have to understand, people reserve the right to change their mind on anything, and people are who they tell you they are.
So for me, it was all about leaving a legacy behind, and I couldn't do that without having children. And so I've always wanted children, and so when the time came and I met the perfect female, so I thought that I wanted to have children with, I did. Yeah. It didn't go as planned. I didn't know that I was going to be, you just never know. I tell people when I was a kid, my aunt always said that I did Barbie doll's hair better than my girl cousins.
Okay.
I would do ponytails and twist it up, and I was really good at it, right? But not knowing that was going to help me in the future because I became a single father of 2 when my children were 4 and 5.
And I understand.
So I've been raising them on my own for 11 years. So that's why I like to say I went back into the closet because Naomi, knowing me for so long, she knows that I decided at a point when I got custody of my children that I needed to separate myself from my friends and everything that I knew that would basically keep me from focusing only directly on my children.
And is it another male in the house or female?
Huh?
Do you have a partner in the house?
No, it's just been me all along.
So you keep your sexual life and the things that you do separated from the children.
Didn't your mother and father, when they were younger, if they were separated, you didn't know anything about who they were sleeping with?
I'm talking about your relationship now.
Yes, no.
So no man come to the house. They never see you with man?
No.
Okay.
See,
they see me. They know my friends. You know, they know about Naomi. My children know that Naomi's a trans woman, and
they know you. How old is they? Matter of fact, how old is they? That's a good question.
Well, now my daughter's 17 and my son will be 16.
Oh, okay. Well, they understand it. They've been, you know, they understand what it is.
Yeah,
They
so
love that for what it is.
They've known them for years, and so.
So did the kids know about it when?
No.
When they was younger.
I still have never had the conversation to say, Dad is a gay man.
You ain't told them.
What is it? What is that going to change?
They should already know, right?
I'm their father.
Yeah, you know what? But we living in a world now where we got to come out with truths, right?
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Like me, listen, I love the women, right? Mm-hmm. So everyone I see, just from a heterosexual male perspective, every single woman I see that got that vagina, I want to do something to them. So, and my son, he managed. He the same way. Yeah. You know, that's DNA. But I ain't gonna hide it from him.
I don't consider that it's hiding. I just think that it's not a conversation to be had because really the only difference is who I'm having sex with. I'm still Dad. I'm still, everything else about me is still the same. Mm-hmm. Nothing changes except for who I'm having sex with.
Which really ain't their business.
It's not.
Yeah. It really ain't.
You know, as kids, like honestly, that's really
not
not
their business.
And I wanted to talk a little bit about that as well.
As parents.
16 and 17.
I think
kids know.
we talk
they
about, but it's really not their business. And I think that it's a conversation that even when you think about the heterosexual cisgender female, right? And we bash women who bring a lot of men around their kids.
Say it again.
We bash women.
The first part.
We bash women. Cisgender heterosexual identifying women.
You got to explain that to me.
So cisgender is a person who identifies as woman who was also born as female and assigned female at birth.
About that too, because
transgender women are women.
Okay,
right,
and
so you have to be able to differentiate between a woman who was born woman or assigned female at birth, and that, let me say assigned female at birth, not born woman, because right, we grow into women and men, correct? Mm-hmm. But a female who is assigned female at birth and identifies still as female is a cisgender woman, because there are people who were assigned female at birth who now identify as men, and those are trans men.
So basically, you're telling me, women who are, men who are born thinking that they're women are the ones who are supposed to be the cis? Cause I'm confused.
No. So you would be a cisgender heterosexual man because you identify yourself as a man.
I got a penis.
You identify yourself as a man.
I got a penis.
You identify yourself as a man, because there are people and there are men who identify as men who may not have a penis, right? But you can't tell someone who they are, because one thing that you have to understand is, yes, I do. I have several.
I do too.
Lost like a
motherfucker. And you would be very shocked and surprised. But one thing that you have to realize is that LGBTQ plus is a lot of things, and it's not just lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender that we think of.
So let's go.
So heterosexuals are included in the alphabet. Cool. So it's actually LGBTQIA2S, right? Which is lesbian, gay. No, that's a man.
That's a trans man.
Damn.
Lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, questioning, intersex, ally, asexual, and then two-spirit, which are indigenous people who are two-spirit. So what people fail to realize is that two-spirited, or people who identify or have the spirits of both male and female, have existed in every major society in the world for thousands of years. And in the Native American culture or the indigenous culture, people were, of course, trans was not a word, so you couldn't say that you were trans 1,000 years ago when the word didn't exist, right? They were considered to be two-spirited. And they were actually celebrated because they were looked at as having the spirit of both male and female. So they were considered to have more wisdom because they could identify or relate to both.
These are the Eastern, like Middle Eastern people with that.
No, most of these people are actually in Texas. Many of them are in Texas, Oklahoma, and Arizona. Two-spirited individuals are Native Americans. Indigenous people, are Native American individuals. So what you think of Cherokee, Indian, all of those different things. Yep. Right. So in those communities, it's considered to be two-spirited individuals. Those are indigenous people.
Okay. All right. So now the ones that have the two parts, are they in the
So intersex people,
that was very interesting,
which is what what people used to call hermaphrodite, which is, it can be an offensive term.
I was speaking English.
So intersex is actually
is
the word for it. And it's not always that they are visibly identifiable as intersex, because there could be a child born with a penis and a vagina, or there can be a child born that has a clear or what looks like to be a penis and may not have testicles, because they may still be on the inside and not formed. So these people are not always born with just both sexes visible to where you can tell. But when you are born as a child at birth, the doctor really decides what gender you are or what sex you are based on what they can identifiably see. But there are literally men walking around right now with penises who also have a womb and have a uterus, and they're born that way. Those are intersex people, and they may not know that they have a uterus until sometime later in their life. But this is a natural occurrence. Literally, this is a natural occurrence within our world. But in some cultures and in some parts of the world, intersex children are killed at birth. And that's because of, you know, our heterosexual, you know, masculinity and yeah, I mean, those expectations. It's no different than in, you know, parts of Asia, especially China, because they have restrictions on how many kids you can have. If you have a girl child at birth first, sometimes they will kill that girl child because they want to continue to have a child until they have a male heir. Right? So you have to understand what masculinity and what heterosexual masculinity means in this world and some of the things that it has been responsible for. And that's just two examples.
So, and I see a little what's listen, all I want to say, I say thank you so much, because you're giving me the vocabulary to use to be respectful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I had to wait to get it because, you know, I was going to say hermaphrodite. And, you know, I really want to, you know, because to me, this, you know, very interesting. Now, I am from
educational.
I am from the reservation. You know, I am from the reservation, born in Cherokee Nation, right? The two spirit things and everything like that, it's kind of hard for me to gain a concept of it. I understand that your point of view is saying that, hey, some people feel like they should be girls and some people should be like boys. This is all I heard from a heterosexual male. But then I heard you kind of say this, because of heterosexual man masculinity. And you kind of said that with an umph, like we did something wrong to the world. You know, because a person who kills a child to us is just a person who's just a fucking monster. It ain't got nothing to do with me, because I like, you know what I'm saying, baby over there looking good and I want to throw her down.
I don't think she's saying it in a sense of
when
you
she
feel
said
like
it, when she said heterosexual now, and the way she said heterosexual male, and I'm gonna read the body language.
Yeah.
It is what it is. So my thing is this, as a heterosexual male, right? And I got a whole lot of LGBTQ, and we always talk about it. To me, this like sitting at the dinner table.
Yeah,
you know, because we go through this. Sometimes I use a little bit more in them just to get them think. So my thing is this right here. I just got a question for you. You said you got that job because of him, right?
Right.
Okay. And y'all were looking for somebody to be what? LGBTQ, right?
No, he was looking for a trans woman.
A trans woman. And what was the position that you do up there?
I don't work there anymore, but I was a programs manager for transgender services.
And a heterosexual male couldn't ran that department.
A cisgender person was over transgender services before I took over the position.
And a cis person is what?
A cis person is a person who is assigned a sex at birth that still identify as that same sex.
We doing politics now.
No.
You gotta keep it simple for me. I'm sorry.
No. It's no different than a person outside of your race calling you a boy as a grown man, and you say that I am not a boy because I don't identify as a boy, I identify as a man, right? And that's what you want to be called, and that's what you tell that person. And it's no different. I'm telling you who I am and a way to what to call me in order to respect me. It's not politics, it's who I am, and it's what I prefer.
So why I just can't call you by your name?
You can.
What's your name again?
Naomi.
Hey, Naomi. How you
But
doing?
when you refer to me outside of using my name, the pronouns matter.
Yeah,
right? Like every time you refer to me, you're not going to always just say Naomi, Naomi, Naomi. When you refer to Chaz, you're not going to always say, you know, Chaz, Chaz, Chaz. You're going to say her. You're going to say her. You're going to say she in place of her name. And those are pronouns. And so when I say that my pronouns are she, her, and her, and for someone to call me Naomi, but then call me he, then you're disrespecting my pronouns.
You're right.
See,
But
and
you
that's
different.
where they feel like honestly, that's where I'm hearing the back and forth from the heterosexual male, the back and forth from the actual women, and you would not even believe some of the women that'll say, well, honestly, they're over the top for wanting to be identified. That's what I wanted to say. Like, how much does the LGBT mean to us as a society? That's important. You know?
It is very important. And honestly, when I think of it, before learning about pronouns and before learning what LGBTQ, was, or LGBTQ plus was, I think of it honestly back to days of us becoming slaves, getting out of slavery, and where we are today. We have told other communities outside of ours what we want to be called and how we want to be referred to. And I would think that having that knowing and going through those experiences as a culture and as a race, we would be more open and understanding. But it seems like it's harder within our community, even though as just being Black and having that identity, we've endured so much.
I want to talk about that because it's tough just being Black, period. Yes. So when you have to identify as such, even on top of being Black, that's even harder. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just now learning how much you guys had to deal with and go through as a community society. Now,
so I want to say this. A lot of it stems from the Black church. Like the Black church really, they don't realize how much they destroyed a lot of
I agree.
People in our community. And I'm just being honest. When I got custody of my children, and I won't say what church I was in, but when I got custody of them, I leaned on the church for all of my support. I left everything that I knew as support from friends like Naomi. I didn't see Naomi for 6.5 years. I separated myself so that I could focus and get all that I needed as a father, as a man, and I leaned on the church because that's what I knew, because my father was a pastor. So I knew where all my strength and my help come from, right? And they hurt me the worst. Like they pushed me to want to go back so bad to my community, because in our community, we loved on each other so much, right? Yeah. That it was so hateful to see every time I went to church not being invited to things because I wasn't considered a manly man. I couldn't, hearing them talk about homosexuality in the church, I would bring friends that I wanted to try to, get closer to Christ. And it just so happened that particular Sunday, it's always like they identify and they see us and they're like, okay, I'm gonna preach on this today. And so they attack us and in a way that's not loving. And I'm saying, well, if you serve the God that I do, then, and the God that I serve is of love, why are you so hateful towards me? And what did I do to deserve that? So I think a lot of it starts there in the church. And we, as a Black people, we love and depend on the church so much, right? We do. And so if they tell us to sway to the right, we're going to sway to the right because the pastor said do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. So when you hear your pastor constantly getting up there condemning these people, you're teaching hate from the pulpit.
Yeah, and I feel you on that church thing. Yeah, but I'm a Muslim, right? Mm-hmm. So, in Islam, we don't go for homosexuality when it comes to the physical aspect. Mm-hmm. But this is the thing, right? We believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive you if it's just a thought. If it's just a thought, right? If you got it in your heart, Allah can't do nothing for that. But if you start acting out on that intercourse and that sexual thing, then in Islam, we look at it as being bad. And we're trained to really think like that. But in Islam, my job is not to judge you, brother. My job is to, and I'm not from the Nation of Islam either. I'm not a more simple Islam, Orthodox Muslim. So, but in my side, it's like, I only have to love you for being one of God's creation. Oh, yeah. So when you come to the masjid, we don't do that. When you come to the masjid, hey, as long as you ain't on the woman's side, because you know different woman, which kind you could probably get away with. I do want to say, to be a trans woman, I don't even want to call you trans Naomi. To be Naomi, shit,
I know, on, right?
Like, damn. All that's gonna be confusing. I got to talk to you like you in the house.
But it's okay.
Like it's like my, cause we all Black and we all family. Cause guess what? On the sneak, everybody got somebody. Even when you're growing up, like, hold on, Uncle Terrence ain't right. Then you grow up, Uncle Terrence is really Uncle Tiffany. It really. Homosexuality and things like the LGBTQ that I see in my community has never, ever been an issue. Mm-hmm. The problem I have with today is this right here. It seems like if I do have an opinion to say about them, they come off aggressive.
I want to talk about that because I did hear that a lot. Because I talked to several people, and let me get this clear. I was raised around people in the LGBT community. I have friends. I mean, I'm very close to. So I'm not judgmental, but what I do hear is the aggression. But we're gonna get back to that because me and Naomi talked a lot about transgenders and the abuse, the killing sprees, all of that. Yep. So I do want to talk about that too. But I do want to actually talk about piggyback on what he said as far as the aggression. I do have an opinion. I feel like if you're gonna represent women, I feel like women don't. We're not that. You know, when you think of a woman, you think of feminine.
Yeah.
So,
when you think of a woman, you think very feminine.
Well, sometimes though, it's new generation.
No,
This girl
I
like
get
her
it.
tough as hell
Wait,
right now.
we talking now. Right. When you think of women, you think, hello, hey, you know, men want that feminine woman.
Yeah.
And so when the gay or the bisexual is not that, it kind of represents the actual woman wrong. I'm not saying you as a person can do you, but that's not how women really are.
So let me
We are
because I know where she's headed, but let me say this.
We are so flamboyant. Like,
let me say this as a gay
women
man.
are so flamboyant. We not want to be a woman 1 minute and then pop off. Nigga, I be, you know.
No, that's not
Naomi's
true.
different though. So
Everybody,
different
Naomi
There
is
are a lot
totally
of
She's
different.
different.
cisgender heterosexual women that are very that. That's
Yeah,
what you just
agreed.
said. Like,
Yes.
oh my gosh, do you
I know
not
quite a
watch
few of them.
YouTube
No,
or
they-
videos?
the women-
It's
the
so
women- the women
many-
nowadays is 100%.
They shooting people.
The women nowadays is 100%
they
aggressive.
gang banging, they shooting people, and they are cisgender heterosexual women. And so for us to have this notion in our head that every woman is the same and acts the same and looks the same,
And don't
that's
get me
not the case.
don't get me wrong. But what I'm saying is, if you gonna be a woman, it's tough being a woman.
So-
period. A woman, black woman at that period. So I had to base my opinion, y'all. I'm not disrespecting nobody, but I just feel like when men look at the woman, the actual woman, they don't look at the woman as rah rah or so aggressive and I'm not saying that. You're supposed to take up for yourself. You're supposed to, if a heterosexual man is coming at you a certain way, I agree. Defend yourself. But sometimes you will find a lot of the LGBT popping off, like going at it.
Especially
and
you
I
talk
mean,
about it,
he has an
They got
opinion
that
on
smoke.
it.
You know, they willing to give me that.
And they can fight.
Shit, they ain't gonna never listen, man. Listen.
Shit,
Because we're
run
no
up on
different than
one.
nobody else.
Hey, listen, I ain't never
Run
seen,
up on one.
I ain't never seen one lose a fight.
Exactly.
And I got a couple cousins like that.
Shit.
Listen, I won't run up on all my cousins, but the thing is this right here. Now when we first came in the parking lot, you know, the first thing on my mind, I'm like, all right, let me find out who the trans is. You know, I looked right past you. I said, oh, that ain't it. I said, well, it can't be him because he got a brush cut. Right? So, but
Society just so
but where I'm
judgmental.
from though, well, you know, places I'm from, I done seen dudes with halter tops on with hair on their chest like nigga. Now my thing is this: if you gonna be a trans,
But that's not trans.
That's what we
that
need
might
to
be a
figure
man.
out.
okay,
Like,
but let me do trans for the fuck of it, right?
No.
Because I'm not eating.
But no, let me say this. Let me say this.
I'm slow. Give me a dictionary.
Let
Yeah,
me
give me
tell you
some.
though. No,
Yes, sir.
as a gay man,
Yes, sir.
this is what I had to
Yep.
learn.
And we know you. I can tell.
Right, I was
Yes,
this
sir.
person that you're talking about.
You wanted to
when
dress up.
No.
Oh, you was popping off.
No, let me tell you.
Okay.
There was a guy that was coming to the club and he carried a purse and he was just like over what you consider over the top, right?
Oh, okay.
I felt the same way. Like, why is he
Fuck is wrong with you?
right? I felt the same way, right?
Yep.
But what I had to learn was I was the problem.
Yep.
I wasn't happy with me.
Yep.
He was happy. And that was who he was as happy. That was his happy space. And so in order for me to get past that, I was at the mall one day. I went and I saw this purse. I'm like, man, that dude, he would carry this purse. I bought the purse.
Okay.
And I only told this to two people. I bought the purse. I took it to the club and I said, I think you would look good with this. Yeah. He carried that purse for like 5 straight years. Every time I seen him, he had that purse. But for me, that is where I became comfortable with me.
Did you hook up with him?
I learned to be, no, it wasn't that. I just felt like,
Shit, I gotta ask.
I always felt like people like that were over the top. I was the same way, but I learned that I was the problem. Why do I care about him being over the top? It doesn't matter. He's happy. I need to be happy with me. If I'm happy with me and be concerned more
I'm
about
not
me,
talking
it
about
won't be
as
a
far as
problem.
physical. I'm talking about the rah-rah pop. Even the
aggressive.
lesbians. Sometimes they will carry themselves as men when you really not a man. Like it can. I don't get it. Like it could be dangerous.
And what side are we
It
talking
could
about?
be dangerous.
Are we talking about the woman that turns into a man that's trying to be over aggressive, or are we talking about the
woman that is
the woman that
walking
turns into a
around with
man?
the boy clothes and
Yeah.
like, and I understand.
listen.
Respect is a must.
You're right.
I agree. You don't let nobody disrespect you, but I've seen aggressive lesbians take control of situations.
Straight
and
up.
I'm serious and actually go to actual men. You know, I don't know if, anything as far as violent.
Yeah, it's been violent. I've been in a situation with a woman who was a
Trans man.
No, hell no, straight girl who had a vagina, a stud. I was gonna say the other word, right? But I'm not. So I'd have been in that situation. Also been at a stud's house late night, 3 or 4 weeks, just on homeboy situation. I slowly but surely seen her start talking like a female. And then one day she came on there and she had some pajamas on. And I seen that thing and I was like, hey. This is a true story, though. I'm like, hey, it just recently happened, man. A dyke broke my heart. I swear to God. So when she came in, but we got mad. Listen, so when she
dyke is an offensive word. Okay, did you hear Naomi?
See? And you teaching me, right?
We teaching.
Because all I'm gonna do is speak the verbiage that you give me. So guess what? When I leave out this room, it'll take me to the rest of the world. But like, hey, listen, man, you can't do this. I do gotta study the sus word. But when the girl, so we feeling each other, man. We doing about a week. I come over there. She got my little drink in the icebox and shit. She got a little something rolled up for me. Treat me just like I want a woman to treat me. And we can still talk about sports. We can still talk about shootings. We can talk about everything together, right? Shooting like, shooting basketball. Oh, okay. But then, check this out. As soon as I seen that thing, and I know we got an eye to eye. I'm like, damn, I really like you. Like you like me. Like I like you. So as I make that move, you know what she tell me? What? I can't do that. I said, why? She said, because I'm a lesbian. I said, because you a lesbian. I said, well, listen here. I know you don't want to be bisexual, but listen, for the night, let me get some of that shit. And that's the shit that bothers me. That's the problem with the heterosexual male guy, because you know what? The ones who are portraying to be boys, they like the best in them out. The ones that I'm dealing with that's supposed to be women, they start acting like a dude. I come in the house, where you been? What you doing? I'm like, hold on, my homeboy, my homegirl, so she didn't do that.
But like, you have some heterosexual males that would say that you may be suspect of liking man because you're attracted to this woman.
Listen,
he said it's a woman.
Hey, listen.
He said he saw the body.
Yeah, I seen the body.
But in every other way, he said she was a man.
So basically, when she took
the man clothes off, I'm like, surprise.
Right.
That's motherfucking woman there, and I got to have it. Shit, it's a lot of bald head women out here that got cancer and stuff. You gotta, I look at, I be like, listen, that's a beautiful woman. I know that vagina is sitting right there. And with me, it's like, heterosexual male, that's how we talk, and that's how he is.
No, not everyone.
Not everyone, but this one right here, this cowboy straight here from goddamn Texas, that's how we talk here in Texas, right? So,
no, not all right.
So
you ain't gonna change me, but my thing is.
I'm so glad he's bringing the light to the room about that.
Listen, this is the thing, right? You, right? Man, when you can kick it. I have no problem with, and I came home from the penitentiary 3 years ago, right? And guess what? I'm seeing Cash in there, nigga, more manly than me. I turn my back like this. He holding this boy hand. And then I go to the visitation room. He got the baddest chick. So, of course, I started feeling some kind of way. I'm like, damn, this nigga got the baddest chick in the world, but he in here effing boys.
But how you feel some type of way, though?
Because the heterosexual male is like, the nigga, okay. The individual
that sex and
it's hard for the heterosexual male to really compete out here when it comes to the breeding. Because think about it, right? If you want to look for the right woman that got she like the same shit you like, all that type of shit, sometimes they might be in that dyke community. Okay?
Dyke is an offensive word.
I'm so sorry. Once again, should I say lesbian?
Yeah.
Okay. They might be in a lesbian community, right? And you got to think, it's everywhere. Every female that I'm seeing, I'm like, damn, okay, cool. Let me holler at her. Then I might holler at the girl. She might be dressed up like that. And then off the jump, she ain't really feeling because I kind of got somebody. Who you got? I got, this woman that's a what's called, and I can't win, especially here in Dallas, Texas. I can't win unless I want to go to get something that's gonna be ran through, effed up, and all that. Do you understand where I'm coming from, brother?
I do.
I mean, and you know what though? But honestly, we talked a little bit, me and you on a one-on-one.
I'm sorry, yes.
It honestly, what you said, I mean, by you having kids and things like that. Me and Isaac talked on that because he kind of brought something to a light. Was basically tell him a little bit about.
So me and her was having one of my biggest standpoints, especially in the black community. This right here, if you choose to be, especially gay, because I know we like to break the mind. Now, if you choose to live that alternate lifestyle, only thing I say, hey, at least have one child for the people.
Why? But it's my responsibility is not to people.
No, it really not.
I don't owe people anything. You don't. Right? I owe something to myself.
But we talk about the race.
And if I bring kids into the world, I owe something to my kids.
But we did talk about the black community and things like that. You brought up Native American, you brought up slavery, you brought up all of that. And my standpoint is this: listen, man, I'm gonna love you for exactly who you is, but I need to get at least your DNA. I need to get at least your DNA in a baby form. So when he said, hey, I had a child, this, that, and the third, I said, you know what? That's one more step towards us being good. Because guess what? Them Latinos, they having a lot of kids. And they got voting rights.
But having a child, you got to be able to take care of that child.
Yeah, well, that's up to y'all. They ain't got to do it.
Well, he just feel like it may.
I got my own kids.
I mean, I'm trying to lighten it up for you because he playing and stuff.
Yes, ma'am, I'm sorry.
But honestly, I guess continue to
populate the black race. Yeah, I get that.
The black race or any race for that matter. If everyone's going to be a part of the LGBT, and that's
popular now.
Standpoint of what he's talking about.
They have children. They adopt as well.
And this is what I'm learning.
Yeah, so
they do.
Yeah,
and I mean, so are we just praising? Right, like
it's
so,
gotta be something you want.
Are we considered to be? We've done our job and we're successful people in the world just because we have had a child, whether or not we in the child's life or we can take care of the child. Or, we teach the child proper morals and values, because some of these kids that are out here killing kids, right, that are killing other people, I mean, they have kids. So are we saying that, oh, you good? You killed somebody, but you good because you had a child.
But you can't compare the LGBTQ community to murderers.
But you shouldn't be comparing anybody to anybody. And the reason that I do that is because I can tell you as a transgender woman, for some people and in some people's eyes and perceptions, I'm like the worst thing in the world. Like I'm below everything else. Okay. So when I talk about, first of all, I'm black, right? Yes. And as a black person, we are considered to be less than.
Never.
Let's not, from society's standpoint, from the standards of Caucasians and many other races outside of that community, the way that the world looks at black people is that we are second-class citizens, which is the reason why we have been enslaved for so long. And white people really thought that we came from apes, and that was their justification for slavery, was that we were not all human, and we were less than human, and that's how they justify slavery, right? So just being black, I already have that strike against me. As a woman, because the first thing that you see is a woman. As a woman, women are considered to be less than men.
Never.
So when you add the intersectionality of being a black woman, black women come in the eyes of society below white men, and then white women, and then black men, and then black women. And then as a person of LGBTQ experience, I'm a notch even lower, right? Like I'm less than even just a black woman. I'm lower than that. But within that spectrum, that trans identification is even less than, in a lot of people's eyes, even in the LGBT community, to be less than a gay man or a cisgender lesbian woman.
I want to talk a little bit about.
So you have to add all those layers.
No, Naomi, honestly, I want to go back because you educated me a lot. As I talk to you more and more, I'm so thankful for you, because honestly, she educated me. I want to go back onto back in the day, Stonewall. Let's talk and dibble or dabble a little bit about Stonewall. Explain to the viewers and everybody about Stonewall and what Marsha A. Johnson stood for. Because I researched
the Stonewall riots were in 1969 in New York City, and it's really considered to be the moment that started gay pride, basically. Within a year of the Stonewall riots in New York City, there was the first gay pride parade that took place in New York City, and then the following year it popped up in a few other cities, and by that third year, it was literally in over 100 cities.
No, they said they rioted for at least about 2 weeks.
Yes, they rioted
they
for
fought the police.
A whole lot of.
It wasn't just people. It wasn't just people in the LGBTQ community, because there were allies there as well.
Everybody.
But that moment, was primarily started by transgender women of color, Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, and others.
And you said allies.
Allies. Yeah. Allies would be
me.
Cis.
Yes. Like everybody was out there fighting the police with them.
Listen, I can't be no ally.
Y'all are,
because we black.
Yes, but you
fight a lot of wars though. No, for one, we gotta find one war. You have to find one war you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight the transgender war. What is the biggest war that you're trying to fight? You're trying to fight the okay. What I'm trying to say is, what is your biggest war that you're fighting? Are you fighting for black folks' rights and things that you say? Or are you trying to fight for the LGBTQ? Because if you're trying to fight for black rights and stuff like that, as a transgender lady, I'm rocking with you. But you're gonna have to make it specific for me in the black LGBT community. Gonna have to let me know, like specific, like
we're fighting for the rights to join us together.
No, we're
fighting. We're divided.
So my thing is
as a black race.
So no, I can't knock you. Listen, when all four of us walk outside the place, guess what? Our enemies or some of our allies might be white.
Yeah.
But one thing about this, I cannot change your color. Now you can change your skin and all that. So
I can't change I can't change who I am either. And that's a common misconception.
Yeah, you can't. But I don't really like when I talk to Naomi. Mm-hmm. When I talk to Naomi, I don't look at Naomi as like, oh, that's a trans woman looking from the side of me. I look at because I look at Naomi as being Naomi. Mm-hmm. But when Naomi says things to me like, you know what, me being a trans lady and I had to go through this and the riots happened in New York and stuff like that, I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I want to know what we really on, because if we on like, hey, us black folks making ourselves better and things like that, we got to make it happen. Even Dr. Martin Luther King even had a assistant that was gay. A lot of people don't know about that. So my thing is this: it's always been transgender people that's going on in the society. And matter of fact, a lot of people who has been gay or things like that have been the most successful especially in the black culture.
Most of them are successful.
But now I'm looking at the LGBTQ community acting as if they're not with us, and they say, well, you know, we going through this. And separation. And I'm tired of the LGBTQ community that are black saying, you know what, well, I'm LGBTQ, so you're not going to really like me, so you stay over there. And I'm like, hell no. We all black. Come on over here, sister. Yeah. Because I got a gay auntie, I got a gay cousin, gay uncle, and I think we need to start focusing more.
I think the government separates us a lot as well.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that you all have to understand your lens of privilege.
You're right.
Right? Like you have to understand that you are looking at things through a lens of privilege, because for one, you are considered to be the norm, right? You are a cisgender, heterosexual, identifying man, which means that you are considered to be of the norm.
Hell no.
Right? And you are. Shit. You are. In society, you are considered to be of the norm. And when you identify as something different than that, you are not the norm. So you have privilege over someone who doesn't identify that, because there are fights that you don't have to fight.
No, but you know what?
But there are fights that you don't have to fight.
But you know what?
Because you identify as the norm.
Yeah, but you know what? Your job.
We do. And I'm not saying that we don't. But the fight that you're fighting is also the fight that I'm fighting, because the world looks at me as just a black woman. And so there are a lot of the same fights that we're fighting, but then when I open my mouth to say that I am trans, then I have a fight that you don't have to fight. I have an additional barrier, layer of discrimination that I have to deal with, transphobia. I could walk outside my door and be killed just for being trans. That's a story that you're never going to have to deal with, right? So we have additional fights. Right. That's why I said when I open my mouth and say that I am a transgender woman, because I am a woman, I am just not a cisgender woman, just to correct your statement.
Now, do you tell the guy that you're intimate with?
Of course.
Thank you.
Okay. Of course. I mean,
every time.
Because I look at me, yes. I look at me telling a man what body parts I have and things of that nature when I'm going to be sexually involved with him, the same as a person who has certain conditions or certain things that may impact their sexuality with a person, such as chlamydia or gonorrhea. Right. So it is the responsibility of you to tell a person that before you have sex. Not everyone does it, but it is a responsibility for you to tell your sexual partner that. Now, you're not going to go out and every person that you meet, you're going to say, hey, I'm Isaac and I have chlamydia, because that's not everyone's business, right? That's not everyone's business. Yeah. But the person that you have gotten to know and that you plan to have sex with or going to lay down with, it's your responsibility to tell that person, because now it matters.
Okay, so I've been in situations where a boy meets a girl at the club. They go somewhere, boom, you know what I'm saying? The girl who had the penis, right? Because the girl who had the penis got strong, understand, because she kept on trying to get him fellatio, and when he got a little aggressive with him, reached back and grabbed, he grabbed balls. So what he feel about like that? So now this boy fucked up for life because she didn't put the switcheroo on him. Mommy, a whole hook I know back in 1986.
There's people that does it, and that's where
there's a lot of that shit going on. It's a game.
I mean, it's a lot of men that get burnt by women that don't tell them that they have something. But you're not going to hate women. But you're still not going to hate every woman because of that experience that happened. And so you shouldn't hate every trans woman just because that is something that happened to you.
You 100%. No, it happened to me.
Nobody deserves to die. Nobody deserves domestic violence. Nobody deserves anything, regardless of what.
But you know, with the trickery and then dealing with the male's ego, right? With the trickery, nobody wants to be tricked. You know, it's almost like, so you see, like to use on one thing. It's almost like I'm a married man, right? And I got this chick around the corner. I'm effing this chick around the corner. She ended up getting pregnant. I never told my wife. Okay, so my thing is this: I would never go over there and trick a person into it, but a lot of trans are doing it. It's almost like a game.
Yeah.
Because I got.
But how do you know a lot are doing it and not just some?
But some.
You know what? You have a lot of trans.
It's a lot of some, but you know what? It's some in this community right here. Because you know I hang out with them. It's some in this community right here. Be like, you didn't know Jerome was gay as hell. How do you know Jerome gay? Did Jerome know? Shit, I don't know.
But you don't know everything that a woman has done in every relationship that a woman has been in. I just found out yesterday that a cousin of mine who has kids, sons, I never knew that she had a girlfriend before I was born.
That's a beautiful thing.
See? And see, that is part of the thing, and that is a double standard. That is a double standard, and that is an issue within our community because it's a double standard.
Let's switch the topic a little bit.
I'm sorry.
I do want to talk because we're gonna run out of time, you guys. I want to talk on a lot of things.
It's so good.
I know. That's
a problem.
I want to talk about that. Let's talk about that with the kids in the community. Let's dibble and dabble a little bit about that. What is y'all standpoint when it comes to because did you know that you would be like this when you were born?
For me, I was molested multiple times by cousins, and so when people make these comments about, oh, you know, you're gay and you woke up this. Well, for me, it wasn't that I woke up and said, hey, I want to be gay today. Okay. No, I had instances where I had family members that was living with us that my mother was taking care of, and they decided to do things. And, you know, well, why didn't you tell? Well, in the black community, males are always taught to toughen up. When they fall, oh, you get up, you're going to be all right. But if the little girl fall, come on, baby, you're okay. So a girl she's more subjective to tell that, hey, somebody touched me. And there's some that's not, but most males aren't going to say anything because we as a community teach our young men, you're tough, get up, you'll be all right. So,
and we
I didn't say anything.
You know what I'm saying? I'm going to say, you know, I'm thank you for saying that, and I'm sorry that happened to you. Sorry about that. I just had to get out the way.
So, I mean, that's how mine came about.
So, Naomi, in your sense.
I don't even remember the question.
So, how did it come about for you?
How did it come about for you? And what age? Around what age?
Did you know where you born?
Well, I knew that I was different a long time. Like, honestly, a very long time. I remember being like 5 years old, like growing up with my cousins, Devannon and Jessica.
Okay.
And I identify with Jessica. Of course, I can't claim to be something that I don't know even exists.
Okay. Right.
So I don't know at 5 years old what trans is. So I can't say at 5, oh, I'm trans.
Okay.
But I knew at 5 that I was supposed to be like my cousin Jessica and not like my cousin Devannon. That's how I felt. As a 5-year-old, I used to sit and we playing with dolls together. We doing all this stuff. And I'm trying to poke my stuff in, right? Like
the penis.
Thinking that is what I needed to do to have what she got.
Wow.
I'm wondering if you did
for
that
me
because
is what
this is a person that you idolize.
No, this is someone that was younger than me, and we all grew up together.
Right?
No, we were all the same. Okay. But that's what I just felt like. That was like that's what I thought it was supposed. Yeah, that's what I felt. Like,
but did you have any? Did you have any male in the household?
Well, I just said Devannon and Jessica. So my cousin was a boy, and my other cousin was a girl. They were brother and sister, and we all grew up together. I had several of them. My dad, I have a dad who is still in my life today. I have a granddad and a grandmother that I grew up around in that 2-person household. And I grew up around my great-grandmother and my great-grandfather. My great-grandparents were alive until one of them died, and my grandparents were together until one of them died. And so I've always had male role models in my life. My granddad taught me more than anyone.
But how would you know?
We played house so much as kids in the black community playing house.
There we go. Good job.
And most black people ain't going to admit it that they done humped on one of their cousins.
I didn't get a chance.
You probably did.
Yeah, you
did. That you humped on one of your cousins. But this is where it comes to where you think like, okay, well, how did I end up gay and they're not? So what was different about me? Because they were doing the same things I were doing, but they're going on to be married, have children. I mean, to have this heterosexual life.
But how did you find out? How did you even find out the different body parts at the age of 5? Because you just said that I had to.
Because so at the age of 5, you knew whether you were left-handed or right-handed.
I'm asking you though.
Right, and that's what I'm saying. At a certain age, you still know what feels right and what doesn't, is what I'm saying. So for me, it didn't feel right. I didn't feel like I didn't feel like my other cousins. I took baths. I mean, as kids, we take baths together. So I mean, I remember taking baths with like my cousin Devannon and my cousin Jessica, and I looked at me and her literally as the same. I really did. I looked at me. I grew up in the 80s, and I was going to say you may have as well. And I'm from the country. Like I said, we took baths together, like we did. Up until a certain age, all 3 of us took baths together.
Did your family accept you completely, or did they have to, when when you finally...
So again, like Charles, I had to come out twice,
She too
right?
gangster.
Because before I knew what trans was, I knew what gay was.
Okay.
Right? And so if I'm told my whole life that this must be what I am, because I see myself looking like this and I see someone who does certain things that are similar to me, so this must be what I am, like, right? But then once I realized that no, I'm not the same as all of these other gay men that I'm coming encounter with, and I'm different than them, and we don't all have the same thoughts, and we don't all have the same preferences, and we don't have the same likes and all of those different things. That must not be it for me. That's not what I am, you know, but I you don't know. So you go through a learning process, even as just a man. You find out what type of woman you like. Once I learned what trans was, because honestly, before I knew what trans was, hormones or any of that, I thought that I was going to like be the first modern day miracle, like that God was going to work, and
So
I was going to lay down
upon a
as
vagina.
one thing, and I was going to wake up another. You know, it's not about body parts; it's about me as a person, my identity, and being a woman.
See, that's why I get
and
confused.
again, right, because not every man has a penis, and not every woman has a vagina.
Well, how you gonna be a man without a dick?
You don't understand. There are.
That's what she's
So right now,
trans man is a man. Trying to educate you on.
And she educated me on it, but you know I ain't gonna go for the bullshit. So this is the thing,
not
right?
bull, that's a reality.
It really is. But listen, check this out. This is my thing, right? So right now you have a vagina.
So I don't really discuss body parts because they don't matter. Right.
If we all family, if you have a vagina right now,
we are body parts, but I'm not asking you how many inches is your penis.
Man, that
like we don't, because that's not my business. Because that's not my business, right? So your body parts don't matter to the conversation that we're having. No, I'm not offended. It's I like to educate people in every moment that I can.
So how do I help a 14-year-old kid, because I am in the school system, so how do I help a 14-year-old kid to say, hey, I want to be a trans? And I'll be like, well, how far trans you want to go? They might say they want to, or older
There's
person.
no such thing.
No, you know what? It's a lot of questions that get, I'm just a person who like to know answers, right?
With the kids, it can
Are adults. It might be males out here that want to get whatever cleared off. And I never met, and you got me describing to you as you're a freaking object, Naomi. And the way you came at me, I'm like, I want to just know if it this and that, because we don't know. You can't see this shit on YouTube. I mean, you're the expert in that.
So I don't understand, again, some of the lines of questioning, because, again, who I am and how I identify who I tell you I am doesn't matter what I've done to my body. It doesn't matter what body parts I have, because a man doesn't always have a penis, right? Like, man is a term of gender, your gender role. Your birth certificate doesn't say man or woman.
That motherfucker say man.
It says male or female.
You're not a man?
It says male or female. And it says male or female.
But I didn't tell you I was a man because I had a penis. I told you I'm a man.
I think because not everyone who was assigned male at birth grows into a man, because there are some men that you would say you ain't no man, because I will tell you, I've heard so many black men tell another black man who don't take care of his kids and don't care of his family that you are not a man. If you ain't taking care of your kids and you ain't taking care of your family, you are not a man. But that man is still male.
Yeah, he's still male.
They're still male, but they're not a man. You don't consider them to be a man, though. And those are roles. You're talking about and describing their roles. You're not taking on the responsibilities of a man if you don't meet these certain standards or do these certain things, and of a woman if you don't do these things.
So I've been studying you for a minute, and I know you talk around a lot of things.
I don't think she talks around.
No, she don't have to.
She's very clear.
She's very clear. I'm just a naive individual. I'm just a heterosexual, naive nigga that probably drink beers and smoke a couple of blunts, right? So we ain't supposed to know nothing. But I'm starting to understand where you come from, because for us to communicate, I gotta feel what you thinking. I think that you're coming from more of a internal, spiritual, mental type of communication that you're giving me when it says, you know what, because you said a couple key words you said to me, this is what made me think, right? You said, you know what, there could be mans out there who really ain't men. You said there could be women out there that really ain't women. Even though your birth certificate says that, hey, it's on there, but it doesn't matter. But my standpoint is like this. Once made at one place, two, it equals two.
There's two. You can have two parts.
And their birth certificate is going to say either male or female, even though they were born with a penis and a vagina. Their birth certificate is going to say either male or female, and at birth, that doctor makes that decision for who that child is supposed to be. Again, I'm not saying anything about my body parts.
Okay.
I'm giving you facts about different people. It'd be no different if I was trying to teach a class to you on on Latinx heritage, right? If I'm talking about that heritage, I'm talking and educating you about that heritage. That doesn't mean that I'm Latin American. And it took and I always use race because people know that race is not something that you can change, and they always assume that your sexuality or that your identity is something that you can change, and it's not. Just like you can't decide if you're going to be left-handed or right-handed, it's what comes natural to you. And so it took for white people to educate other white people and let them know that we are humans and we are equal. It took for white people to get us out of slavery and to do things to get us rights, because black people were not in a position of power in order to make those changes. So someone outside of black people had to educate non-black people.
And some people,
blame what
whites.
That was.
And some people blame whites for the reason why a person might be gay because of buck breaking and everything like that. So you can play at both roles. And some people out there to say the reason why majority of black males are acting like that, are acting feminized, because they raised by women or they getting effed in the butt. So what would you? Now, it's not true, but that's what they say. Everything she says is not fact.
She stated fact.
I'm saying
she stated and this was the issue and the problem that I knew that was going to occur.
Yeah.
And one thing I know about the LGBTQ, if black folks were rocking together like y'all do, man, we'll own this motherfucker.
Well,
but we can't, because you know why? Y'all will say this right here. Yes, I'm black, but you a heterosexual male. And you better not question my shit. But you might ask me one day something, I'm gonna come straight out. Yeah, man, I don't really rock with that. But it seems like when I ask you like a simple question, and I'm asking you,
and that's what we should get
when
better
it comes
with.
to the LGBTQ community, and when I ask you something, I'm just like a little baby. If I don't know
all
nothing,
of those, that was more personal.
Yeah, that was more personal.
Like literally, if we sitting down here having a conversation like we're having, and out of nowhere I say, "How big is your dick?"
I'll tell them motherfuckers. Right.
You gonna be like, "Where did that? Why did that matter to the conversation?
Exactly.
And what does that have to do with anything? Why do you want to know that? Like, so for you to ask me what body parts I have is the same thing. But like for me to just sit here and say to Chaz, girl, you know, you are so right. Yes, you are so right. Have you ever had your breast done? Have you? You're gonna be like, what? I'm like, what does that pertain to the conversation? How does that add to the conversation? It doesn't matter.
Yeah. And you know, it might be disrespectful, but for a person who does not know, and he don't want to go home and be like,
but why do you need to know?
No, talk about
you don't need to know.
No, it is a way to know, because you know what? It's on television. It's on Netflix. It's on iCarly.
But
it's on
SpongeBob.
So we gotta know.
I think they should. I think the LGBT definitely needs a
They gotta come out and let me know something.
A TV station.
Hell yeah.
Not saying that. Well, a lot of people complain about the things that the kids are watching nowadays on TV. I push for y'all to have a station. Honestly,
try and blame something on something.
Know, though.
To always, you know, we try at one point, and y'all may not remember this. At one point in time, when white kids in suburbs was acting out and setting their houses on fire and doing all kind of stuff, we blamed it on Beavis and Butthead. And so it's always been something that we're trying to blame something on, instead of people are just going to be people and act how they're going to act and be who they're going to be.
But for the last 10 years,
I didn't have to watch anything that made me know who I was or feel like I was, because I had seen Jerry Springer growing up as a high school student. You know, which one of these is really a man? You know, and it's like, I didn't know anything about it, but I didn't immediately say, oh, I'm going to be that, or I want to be that, because I saw that. No, like it wasn't that for me.
And what's the difference of them seeing women on women action?
It's no difference.
Lil Boosie had a big
that's heteromasculinity, but honestly, that is toxic heteromasculinity, because you're sending one message, to women, and you're sending another message to men, which is no different than when a 14-year-old girl is touched by a 20-something-year-old man. We say that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong, that is wrong. But if a 14-year-old boy has sex with a 23-year-old woman, then we say, oh, let me dap you up. And that's sending the wrong message. That's toxic heteromasculinity, and we're telling boys that it's okay to be touched and do all of these things. But we're telling girls that it's not. It's not a man or woman. It's not okay for kids to be touched. It's not such for kids to be touched by grown people at all.
But at the same time, even though you have your rights, me as a heterosexual man, you say that heterosexual masculinity, it's like you trying to gangbang with me. Now, this is my thing right here. My thing is this right here. If I want to know what is going on with a trans person, why do you have to be so offended? If I don't know, I don't know. That's like me seeing a Chinese man. I ain't never seen a Chinese man in my life. He comes to America.
It's not
you know what? But I can be curious, right?
So that was body parts. The only time you should be curious of that is if you're trying to get with her. And if you're not trying to get with it, it's your business.
You lie because if a person say,
I don't care what anybody
if a man
says,
say,
I'm trying to date.
Go ahead. If a man say he gay, what he doing?
Trying to get in the drawers.
If a man,
I want to know what's in
I
there.
agree.
If a man say he gay, what he trying to do? If a man say he gay, he trying to fuck a man. If she say she's a trans, she's a man that trying to watch trying to fuck all this do
No. And sometimes in order to learn, you have to learn to listen, right?
Exactly.
You have to be able to listen. So let me tell you this. First of all, out of the LGBT, T is the only one that has nothing to do with your sexuality.
No, hey,
lesbian is a woman who likes women.
That's fucking women.
Is a man who likes men. Bi is a man or a woman who has sex with both sexes. Trans is a person who has transitioned, but there are trans women who still like men.
Yeah.
There are trans women. There are trans women who like women, and there are trans women who like both. There are trans men who like men. There are trans men who like women, and there are trans men who like both. Yeah. So it has nothing to do with your sexuality and only about your identity and who you are as a person.
And that's why I said you probably come from the spiritual. You come from like the inner me and all this other shit. And that's cool.
I come from telling you who I am as a person. Because like you said, you identify as a black man. And so for someone else to come and tell you that you are something else because of their opinion and their belief, it's different. And honestly, you talk about opinions and say it's our opinion, but when you think about it was the opinion of Adolf Hitler that Jewish people were less than. And that led to them because of the position of power he was in. His opinion turned into and led to a lot of hatred that cost millions of Jewish people to lose their life because of one person's opinion.
Unfortunately, we can sit and talk about this topic.
And
guys, this was so dope. We got like 5 minutes yet left, you guys. I hate this. Go ahead, Isaac.
I do want to say this before we go.
I do want to say.
Y'all know, listen, man. Y'all know. This is like being the grandma house. We all family. This motherfucker. We should be able to talk and get through it. But I want to say this right here. Listen, whatever movement that y'all with, I'm rocking with y'all. But y'all should be open for debate and things like that. And to explain to people. Now listen, I ain't as dumb as I think, but some of the viewers out there might not know.
Yes,
and my job is to answer the questions that the viewer might be like, hey man, why ain't nobody asked them about, is it a penis on that motherfucker?
But nobody out there really cares because
there's a lot of people that care.
I'm saying like in this moment.
That's why I brought him on today. I am so thankful, Isaac, that you did come on because I'm telling you, a lot of men got things to say, but nobody, when it was time to come up on here, nobody really wanted to go against them because they already know
they gangster to the motherfucker. Don't bring y'all ass up here.
Listen, they stand strong, and I am so thankful.
And I think that every race would say black people strong because we've had to fight for so long as people. We say black women are stronger than anything because of what black women have had to endure, and LGBT people have just had to endure so much from a majority of the world that you have to develop that strength in order to survive.
And I think that's why this is so important because it's going to bridge the gap between us because we are one like we don't need
this
to
is a straight man right here, y'all. He is on the panel with us. Thank y'all so much. Naomi, what do you have in store? Anything that's coming up? I mean, I know you do a lot.
I do.
I know. So and then how could anybody, like, if they can reach out to you, I want you to shout out your Instagram, your Facebook. If somebody's going through anything mentally, just reach out to her. She is so informative, and she's wonderful. You guys, go ahead and shout out.
Well, I'm a consultant right now, so if you need any assistance, with consulting, I do have a full-time consulting gig. However, I am available, to speak on panels and to educate the people as well.
Yes.
But I recently launched my own business. It's called Just a Pinch. I do seasonings and like a seafood sauce, so I have boils and sell bags. Yes. I am starting a new nonprofit organization that focuses on employment for marginalized communities of color, especially Black transgender women. So that's something that I have coming up. Various activities for Black ladies in public health. I'm on the board for them as well as Texas Pride Impact Fund. So working on a lot. I got a speaking engagement Tuesday and, at University of Texas Arlington. So tune in for that at 12 noon. If you like, you can catch me on my social media at Nay to the, that's N as in Nancy, AY, the number 2, THE, Nay to the. You can catch me on Snapchat, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn at Nay to the or Naomi Green.
Thank you guys so much. Charles, thank you so much for
I've enjoyed it.
Joining us on this panel. Isaac, you know you my buddy, man.
And I need a job too. So y'all gotta take that train and do the shit off there. I need a goddamn job. I'm fighting for a job out here, man.
I love it, you guys.
She got all the jobs.
I love it, you guys. Thank y'all so much for tuning in with your girl Chaz on So This Is The Thing podcast. Be on the checkout for more. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit that link.
Period.
Instagram, Chaz Lyric. Also, reach out to me. Follow me on YouTube. Let's get out of here, you guys.
Period.
Thank y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Bye-bye, y'all.